Tonight, Q reveals the truth that's been in front of us the entire time. Plus, he warns us that the mainstream media fake news attack on the Q boards is going to ramp up here in the coming days. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. For those of you who don't know, I start off every single one of these episodes by saying thank you to every one of my subscribers. Without you guys, this channel could not exist. It would not exist. So thank you to everybody who has come here. And if you have not hit this subscribe button yet, now would be a good time to come do it. Click the big red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, as soon as these videos get posted, you'll be notified, because as soon as information is made available to me, I make it available to you. Now, jumping into the latest Q post, we have an incredible amount of information we're going to cover here tonight, and it is truly, truly bombshell stuff. We're going to talk about certain things that have happened in the past that are being brought back to the forefront by Q, and we're going to talk about the birth certificate controversy. Q brings that up again. So is that going to be coming into the narrative sooner or later in the mainstream news once again? Plus, he warns us about the mainstream media coming to attack the Q boards. So the first post we're going to go over here is the Q post right here, and it starts off with these pictures, right? And they call them in the post here, Q calls them NSA traffic camera rotation 1, right? Rotation 2 would be this. And then rotation 3. Okay. And what Q's pointing out here is a post he made back on February 16th, 2018, where he actually posted this, and I actually made a video because he had basically stated that there was a possible car attack being staged in the United Kingdom, and he warned us to stay alert. And the file name was NSA Traffic Cam London. And I thought that was very interesting, and Q's going to give us an insight here. Note the time, note the vehicles on the road, compare against February 16, 2018, 6 surveillance value targets, UK, US, US, UK, Q. Okay, so this is all going to be tied together through a few different posts that we've gone over previously. So if you guys want to, definitely go back if you're just coming into this and watch the latest few episodes and try to get caught up to where we are right now, because it's really going to help you figure out some important things that are maybe skimmed over here as we go through this. But I'll try to cover it all as if this were the first time for each one of you. Note the time. So what Q's telling us to do is to check the time of the posts, and what that's telling us is to look at the pictures in the post and the time of day or night. It is night time, right? So these pictures must have all been taken at that same point, and he's pointing us to the fact that February 16, 2018, there were 6 high value targets that he was telling us that had been surveilled in the UK or the US. And what we have connected in the last few videos is that this here, the UK, US, US, UK, is talking about the SIS, the Secret Intelligence Service of the UK, which is also like MI6, who has obviously been working in complete conjunction with the FBI and the CIA in order to combine surveillance agencies and then to skirt each other's own constitutional and parliamentary law, or with the intent to basically spy on their own citizens. Now, what Q I think is pointing out here is that this information is going to be what comes out that's being used against them. I don't have the exact answers on exactly what the 6 and the value targets are, but they were being surveilled in London, and those 6 targets could relate back to what we've talked about in many previous posts, where it relates to the fact that Peter Strzok, I'm sure with others, was sent to London in Operation Crossfire Hurricane. And what is Operation Crossfire Hurricane, if you're asking yourself that? It is actually the operation that was put into play 90 days before the general election of 2016, where Trump was elected, which was actually establishing precedents for spying on the Trump campaign. So if you look back to Carter Page and this whole Mueller investigation and the whole Russia hoax collusion scandal, this is literally them putting it together in real time, I believe. And that's my interpretation of it so far, is that these pictures are showing us the surveillance that was taking place at the time at which they were putting together this operation. I could be off, but you guys will let me know in the comments, and we'll continue to figure this out together. But that's my best guess for this time, for this moment. And I can tell you right now that the UK-US, US-UK thing is definitely, in my opinion, connected to the intelligence agencies being shared. You have Brennan working with Comey, with Peter Strzok, who is the head of one of the higher ups in counterintelligence at the FBI, who is the liaison between the CIA and the FBI, who makes them connect. And then he's going over to London in Operation Crossfire Hurricane to connect with MI6, which is SIS, Secret Intelligence Service. So there you go. That's the connection. I believe that's what Q is trying to point out here. And I think he's trying to point out that these are the same pictures as well. So this was the picture here, and that this was the rotation of the camera. So this is all happening at the same time. And it's funny how this Ferris wheel makes kind of a cue. But, you know, hey, coincidences. There are no coincidences, according to Q. So that's what my interpretation on these are. And if you guys have a different one, please leave it down in the comments. I want to thank you all for doing that in advance. But we're going to go ahead and jump right into the next one. So it is the file name Pain JPEG. And what is it? Well, it's actually a Trump tweet that we're going to look at. And it says, "I hereby demand, and we'll do so officially tomorrow, that the Department of Justice look into whether or not the FBI, DOJ infiltrated or surveilled the Trump campaign for political purposes, and if any such demands or requests were made by people within the Obama administration." So this obviously is what we're looking at as Obama administration, infiltration, surveillance. That's what they were doing with the FBI. I mean, this is exactly Trump verifying everything that we've been going through here on these boards together, giving us the vindication of knowing that we are not just out here in some kind of bubble with our LARPing, because this is not a LARP. This is real. This is real life, and this is real news and real information that's being brought to the surface in real time. And the content is too much for the mainstream media. Do they really want to cover the pedophilia? Do they really want to cover the Satanism? Do they really want to cover the Luciferian globalist cabal? No, they don't. And it's too much for them to accept. Plus, the means of communication, for the most part, are controlled by people who are involved or complicitly, basically blackmailed into following this cabal. Or explicitly blackmailed. They're outright blackmailed. Excuse me. So that's what we're up against here. Nobody wants to cover the truth, and this is Trump vindicating all of us. If we go back and we want to look at what Q was saying just the other day, follow the pen. This is the executive order. It has been written. What is this executive order, you ask? The executive order relates to this, the letter that came from Representative Jim Jordan. And he says here in the letter that they're requesting all the documents that have been withheld by Sessions and Rosenstein and others at the DOJ and the FBI to be released immediately to the House Intelligence Committee. And those documents are basically laid out here as being the abuses of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, documents related to the FBI and broader Department of Justice's initial investigation into the Trump campaign prior to the appointment of the special counsel, and the unredacted August 2017 memo written by Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein that articulated the scope of the special counsel's jurisdiction. That's exactly what we're going after here. This is what Trump has been just verified. And this tweet brings up a very important question. Was the 23 that Q was referring to, as we scroll down and look back to the 23 that was revealed in the last video, out of his password here for his trip code, and we all talked about minus 23. Some people, I took it to mean 23 days because June 11th seemed like a logical date to be targeted, it being the day before the Kim Jong-un meeting between Trump and the leader of North Korea. Others have pointed out very wisely that it could also refer to 23 hours or 23 as in May 23rd. But I believe 23 hours could be very, very appropriate as a number for this. Saying minus 23, given the post that Trump made, would suggest that possibly by tomorrow morning, we could be seeing this executive order being released. And Trump's telling us right here that it is being released tomorrow. So could it be 23 hours from the post that Trump put up on Twitter? Or is 23 hours relevant to other like connections between the Twitter posts and other things? You guys let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts, theories, and insights on that. But this is the Trump tweet, and that's exactly what it's referring to. It's laying it out for us, and it's exposing that they infiltrated and surveilled him using informants and all types of nefarious methods, and it was to the benefit of the opposing political campaign. So that is, in and of itself, an incredibly unlawful act by those who are involved in that action. And it's just sad to see that we are living in this state that we are in right now. He wants us to follow the pen. We know what the pen refers to. The pen refers to the executive order that's going to be issued to clear those documents, to think timing, to understand there are no coincidences, and to be prepared for attacks getting worse, and to remind us that they, the cabal, the globalist, Luciferian, Satanist, pedophile elites, who are basically mounting against Trump, those in the deep, deep state who are not working for the benefit of our country, but for the benefit of themselves, and those in a very small bracket of individuals who have taken control and seized control of most of the means and levers of control in society. So that is what we are trying to wrestle back from them right now with Trump and with this revolutionary resistance, with a bunch of renegade rebels, just like in the American Revolution. So you guys keep it up out there. You guys are doing a great job. Remember, the pain is being brought right now, and Trump's actually doing his best to basically get us out of the mess that we're in, and he's giving us a signal here that he's back on with the Q team as he always was. Now, the next post here actually points to something incredibly interesting, and it's talking about the post where Trump hereby demands that they are going to officially release those documents from the DOJ and the FBI to the congressional committees. And the AN0N posts this picture here, and he says new Q again, and PF here, and he says, and if you guys know what that means, let me know. I've drawn a blank on it for some reason. I can't figure out. I know it's probably something really simple, like preferred favorite or something. But you guys let me know what it means in the comments. I'm sure you'll know. But Q's referencing this post here directly and saying, given we have now undeniably in Killbox on purpose verified ourselves to be an inside source, expect the MSM clown army in Killbox to attack in full cooperation with foreign and domestic assets. Be prepared. Trust the plan. Conspiracy no more. We are in full control. Pain Q. So guys, get ready. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to try to be putting up disinformation against Q. There's going to be a lot of mainstream media sources who are going to be covering it, who are going to be basically creating the Streisand effect to a degree, I believe, which is going to be a good thing overall. It's going to drive more people to come find this information because it's the important information that the mainstream media won't cover. So we'll see how this all pans out. But I can guarantee you that people like myself and others, even though I just directly report what I see here, I don't get too far out into conspiratorial narratives, although I do put together puzzle pieces for you, and then I let you decide. But I could be easily called a conspiracy theorist, along with several others, people out there that are working on this, trying to decipher this and bring it to you guys full time. So just remember that use your own filter. The information you're being given here, I don't really put a filter on it. I try to be objective in reporting it, but I'm just telling you what the information is. And I'm expecting most of you out there who are really passionate about this to go out and do the research for yourselves. And for those of you who, don't have the time or anything, I think you understand that this is just a good overall insight into what Q's been posting lately. So that's where I fall on it. And if if you ask me, I think it's going to be a good thing that the media starts covering it, even if they start covering it negatively, as they say, any publicity is good publicity. And we have to continue to spread the message of good against evil. We have to continue to spread the message of light against darkness and God. God is most important here, and we have to continue to spread that message and expose the evil, elite, pedophile, Luciferian, Satanist, globalists for what they are, which are evil and basically demonic figures. So that's what that's kind of saying to me. But it's going to happen with the clowns in action, aka the CIA, in conjunction with the media, obviously Project Mockingbird, all the plants they have in there, and their foreign and domestic assets. So we'll probably be getting it from all types of different media agencies when it comes to it, whether it's British or American or Australian or Canadian publications, whatever. I'm sure they'll all be in full-fledged attack of Q, calling it conspiracy, calling it dangerous, calling it all of these things. They're probably going to try to connect it to some awful tragedies that have happened recently and try to say, and I don't know this for a fact, but try to say that Q is causing it. But the reality is Q is only providing us with the information that we know to be true, and we are here to trust the plan, and this should never be thought of as conspiracy theory. This is going to be a conspiratorial set of facts that could be presented in the future if enough evidence is brought to verify them. Now, I know what you're thinking. That is a theory. Well, conspiracy theory is a derogatory term, in my opinion, that's been used as a way of dismissing any validity off the bat. So if you're considered a conspiracy theorist, you're considered automatically untrustworthy. And I don't think that conspiratorial thought or theory is necessarily a reason to distrust someone. I think moreoverly that if you consider the facts that they're proposing with their conspiratorial theory, then you may issue that judgment. But when you look at the set of facts that we are given here, it seems as though Q is in full control and that they are ready to bring the pain. So we'll have to wait and see how that all fleshes out. But where we go one, we go all is the name of this JPEG, and it is We Are Q, which is a great picture. I really love it. And I haven't found the exact significance of this photo yet, because there's obvious, topical stuff you can pull off, like the shape. It's a circle that looks kind of like a Q, and it's all these people who are behind Trump and for Trump for his inauguration. And, we the people are Q. It's not just Trump. It's not just the people who help him run the Q boards or who manage the Q stuff for him. It's literally everyone. Me, you, him, her, the whole galaxy of people who are involved in this, the patriots who love our country and our president and God first and foremost. So that's what Q wants to get the message of out with this. As far as I can analyze it, that we are all Q. We are all a part of this. The millions of people around the country who support this president, and the millions of people around the world who support this president, who want us to succeed, who want us to save not just ourselves, but the world as a whole from this evil globalist cabal that exists. Now, the next post is Q posting this flag and for God and country, which is really important. And the American flag it's our symbol. It's right there below the cross. I have, I look to my cross first. I look to Jesus. I look to his sacrifice. But then after I do that, I do look to the flag, and I look to it for inspiration and for hope. And it is something that means a lot to me in my country. And I think it means a lot to the world at large. We're here for everyone. We're not here for just ourselves. We literally have been infiltrated by some pretty evil forces, and we're trying to fix it so that we can help ourselves, so that we may help the world. So that's where I stand on that. Now, an AN0N post here. Q's picks today seem to be a few seconds after the February pick. In the February pick, they're crossing the street, reaching the median. In today's pick, they have crossed the median, have begun crossing the street. The two people walking on the sidewalk or on the right side of the picture are walking toward the camera. And then Q says ROT equals rotation Q. So this AN0N didn't post anything about asking about rotation. Q just says ROT equals rotation because I think Q wanted to highlight this post to make us focus on the people who are pictured in the street camera. So if you go back to this photo and you kind of blow it up a little bit, you can see that there are people right here, right? And I think what Q is trying to tell us in this picture is that those people were walking in a direction. And here, let me pull up. I'm sorry, I think I lost the one photo here, which would be this one, the more important one. Now, and he's pointing that, so imagine that what we just saw was this crosswalk here, right? They were moving this way. You can see my mouse here. And that now the two people are walking this way. All right, interesting. And then it cuts to the third cam, which is here, where you can see there are two more people walking. I don't know which two. But that seems to be what Q wants to highlight. He wants to point out to us by saying the ROT equals rotation and pointing to this post. That to me tells me right off the bat that Q wants us to know that this is in fact what we should be focusing on. So what does that relate to? Well, my personal opinion, as I said before, is that it refers directly to Lisa Page, Peter Strzok, and whoever else was probably involved in Operation Crossfire Hurricane over in London, working with the SIS, the Secret Intelligence Service, and the CIA through Brennan, through Strzok, through Comey, in their joint effort with the Secret Intelligence Agency over in the US or in the UK, and possibly Christopher Steele even, an alleged attempt to basically spy and infiltrate and undermine the campaign of a U.S. president who later became duly elected even through the interference that was waged against him. You guys, I can't make this up. You know, I've enjoyed writing, fiction when I was younger about, spy novels and stuff like that. And you can't make this kind of storyline up. I really am incredibly impressed at the gravity of this, but I'm disgusted and horrified at the complete debauchery and criminal activity that we're uncovering here. So it is sickening. Now the next post is really, really important, right? This is one of the craziest things. So now it comes out that Trump or Q, I should say, excuse me for that slip. How amazing. The state health director who verified copies of Obama's birth certificate died in a plane crash today. All others lived. And this is from 2013, right? And this is what Q is pointing to. So it's like, I wonder. And he says, the truth has been in front of you the entire time. This leads to a lot of different questions. My first question is, since a lot of people were vilified and shut down during the time of the truther movement, and even Trump kind of backed off of it after Barack Obama produced his short form birth certificate, there's always been some questions that have remained unanswered to a degree. There's been a lot of documentaries and evidential compilations that have been put together that would show that there's a lot of holes that can be poked in the story of Barack Obama's birth certificate, whether you go back to his name changes, where he lived, his citizenships that he could have claimed in other countries, so on and so forth. Interestingly enough, though, what is the real story there? And I think one of these ANONs, somebody over on Reddit, a Redditor, great smart person named Kara C. Thank you so much for this post. I was scrolling through and found this, and I thought it was just fascinating and good. But it says, the truth has been in front of us, but we haven't been able to do anything about it due to the filthy swamp protecting the bad guys. Millions of Americans have known Obama was hiding something major about his identity way back in 2008 when he refused to release his birth certificate when asked to. After it was noted he had potential citizenship ties to 4 countries, the US, UK, Kenya, and Indonesia, the media should have called on him to authorize the release of the originals of all his identity-related documents and answer the questions of the American people. Instead, they smeared us as racists and birthers. Eventually, under pressure, Obama's team put up a forged document of his short-form birth certificate, proven to have been built on a half-blank birth certificate that first appeared on the left-wing daily KOS website. Now, again, this is the Karis C talking. I don't have any verification to prove her points she's making here. I'm just reporting what she said, or they said, and which I'm assuming that's a woman. Anyway, sorry. It says, our political representatives sent back lying form letters to their constituents who demanded the truth. The courts shut down all related lawsuits, and the media attacked anyone who pointed out this short form birth certificate was a forgery and that it wasn't the long form birth certificate with the details we'd been requesting. Hawaii even changed its birth certificate policies to confuse the issue further. A few years later, Trump called Obama out for not releasing his birth certificate, the first major public figure to do so. Obama's team put out a second forgery, this time of the long form birth certificate. Trump seemed to accept the forgery, which was frustrating at the time, but later this seemed to be part of a bigger plan. The birthers cataloged hundreds of problems with Obama's two forged birth certificates, his Social Security numbers, plural, the weird real estate holdings in his name changes, and his passport records, his selective service registration, his mostly missing school records, his surrendered law license, the related identification documents of his claimed family members, his false birth story, and the many odd happenings surrounding these things, including the bizarre death of Loretta Fuddy. How wonderful it would be to hold those responsible for this travesty accountable and bring them to justice. Now, how could you not be asking yourself at this point who Loretta Fuddy is, right, if you don't know? And we're going to talk about her really quick. Loretta Fuddy, she's an American health official and social worker from the state of Hawaii. She was the director of the Hawaii Department of Health for a while and the mayor of Kalawao, I guess I'm saying that correctly, County from 2011 until her death. Now, she died unexpectedly in December of 2013. When did Trump tweet this? The day after her plane goes down. She is the one he was referring to. And why was he referring to her? Because in this timeline, it's very possible that she had been the one who was able to actually have seen or handled the birth certificate of Barack Obama. And being an expert on birth certificates from that era, she would have been the right person to be able to analyze it and to give an actual testimony against it. And was she connected? I don't know if there's another direct connection between her and Barack Obama, but it would seem she may have been the one who administered the birth certificate. I mean, the timeline lines up perfectly. She was born in 1948. Obama was born in 61, I believe. So the timeline is there for her to have been around the age to have been working at the as a social worker, and then to have been maybe the person who was involved in making that birth certificate. And Trump is pointing it to it here as who verifies copies of. She was the one who verified copies of Obama's birth certificate, and she died in a plane crash, and everyone else lived. The truth's been in front of us the entire time, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll see how much more that comes out. But we're going to jump right in the next post. If you guys have comments, I'm sure you have a lot to contribute there. Leave those down in the comment section, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, at a later date as more comes out here. Now we're going to jump into this post, which is the next one. Q writes, clarification. We exposed the password on number 91, on purpose, and it said 23, so possibly 23 hours was the countdown. Shout out to everybody who said 23 hours, and I said 23 days, which was June 11th, and others said May 23rd. We'll still have to see exactly. But moving forward, it says, subsequent posts on here were then made by AN0Ns. Timestamps verify, use logic, understood, be careful who you follow, Q. So I think it's basically, this is talking about something that happened over on the Patriots fight board, where Q has been posting partially part of the time. And what happened here is you see this jump, right? What jump are we talking about? Well, we have 83, 84, 85, 86, 90. So there's 4 posts that have been removed, or 3 or whatever. So what were those posts? Well, these posts were ANONs who were posting after Q exposed his own password, again, probably who were very, very frazzled by the fact that Q had exposed his password, and as the board owners, obviously they were able to jump on the board and get some information in there, and then Q removed, or they removed it, and Q removed it, or had it removed, because they were asking basically whether or not this was real. They were trying to get verifications. It was Code Monkey, the board owner, who was working to try to get verification. So that was what I believe that is, because I think there was a lot of talk between people about, how Q is not real, and that, obviously the people were freaking out and there were posts removed. And well, what it really was, I believe, is that people jumped on to make sure it was Q, and they verified that it was Q. So that was it. And it's basically telling us that the timestamps will verify it, and that the logic is that they're the ones helping to run the board. So obviously they're going to chime in where they can. And, Code Monkey, with just all the people out there who make this work, it's really incredible, but they're the ones who are going to be under that. And then, so he's saying, be careful who you follow. This is obviously back going to the whole thing with Alex Jones and Corsi, where they talked about the first how they were following QAnon, then how they knew QAnon, then how Alex Jones knew people who golf with QAnon, and Corsi knows exactly who QAnon is, and then QAnon's fake after he basically says some things on the board that make them react a certain way. Then he's fake, and how the people have speculated that Zach, their resident AN0N at InfoWars, was basically, they're trying to be their replacement Q, because they're trying to steal that narrative. And I don't know. I don't have any facts to give you. I leave that to you guys to have your own opinions. I think that Alex Jones has been working for a long time, bringing a lot of information. So is Corsi and others. So I'm not going to get into what their work is, because it's not important. What's important is what Q's doing here, but he's asking us to be careful who we follow. Obviously, because the information that we get is up for debate, and it needs to be analyzed. And in that same token, you have to think about it in the sense of, who's giving you an objective view, and who is trying to tell you what to do and what to think. And I think that that's pretty self-evident at this point, when the people, whoever they are, tell you that Q's fake, or that they know Q. And Q has made it very clear that there are no comms outside of this thread, and that anybody who says that they've talked to Q is lying. And he told us this a long time ago, before people started telling us they knew Q, and that they were going to expose Q, and that Q's fake now and he's been overtaken. So that's the debate that's constantly going on. And I think you can almost expect that to become incredibly more complicated and complex as the media gets involved with attacking the Q boards. So just stick around, Patriots, and remember that you have to use your own filters and critical thinking in order to be a person who can follow this subject, because it continues to evolve as we move deeper and deeper into it. And we're going to read the next post, which is going to be really interesting. So first, it's giving us, Q is reposting this picture telling of a post that Q put up on the 16th, telling us to follow the pen, and saying that the executive order is already written and that the letters left visible to match. So we matched up the letters, and it referenced this letter from Jim Jordan. And why did it mention that letter? Well, obviously we've talked about following the pen and what all that means. Now the next one is connecting this Q post from the same day, where Donald Trump tweets that there's a rigged system, that they don't want to turn over documents to Congress, and what are they afraid of? Why so much redacting? Why such unequal justice? At some point, I will have no choice but to use powers granted to the presidency and get involved. And then Q posts here, executive order unreleased. Today was the precursor. It must be requested officially first, correct? So it was requested then by Jim Jordan. That's what they point out. And now it's a Ron DeSantis post here, which is an interesting one. It's him saying, thanks for responding favorably to the letter I sent with at Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows. Let's cut through the recalcitrant bureaucracy, get the truth, and hold people accountable. And it's replying to Trump's latest tweet, I hereby demand that the FBI and DOJ turn over the documents, basically. So this is all happening today. Why is that interesting? Well, it's interesting for several reasons, but if you put it together with what Q's saying here, those who are the loudest, suicide weekend pain Q. So he's saying, be very, very cognizant of what's going on. When they say suicide weekend in the question mark, I think that's really just referring to people who are going to be resigning, people who are going to be maybe having deaths. I'm not suggesting that anybody you know, should do that. I'm just saying that that's what he's suggesting here, is that there are people out there, there are evil forces that may be taking people out who are doing their best to either work for the cabal or work for the globalists or work for the Satanists or whatever it is. They're the ones working the hardest for them. And if they end up getting taken out, it would not be it wouldn't be crazy. And this brings me to, okay, so the reason I wanted to talk about this especially is because this is our chance to have our weekly update from the raisin-faced turd muffin corner of John Brennan. So, John Brennan, the raisin-faced turd muffin, has decided to pop his head out of his little crab hole wherever he lives, and he has decided to chime in on Trump's latest tweet where he demands the FBI and the DOJ turn over the documents. Senator McConnell and Speaker Ryan, if Mr. Trump continues along this disastrous path, you will bear major responsibility for the harm done to our democracy. You do a great disservice to our nation and the Republican Party if you continue to enable Mr. Trump's self-serving actions. I'm sorry, that is exactly how I imagine that raisin-faced turd muffin chooses to speak his words in private, even though I have heard him speak in public. He sounds like the raisin-faced turd muffin that he is. So I just thought that was exactly how I heard it in my head, so I thought I'd give that to you guys. But no, what he's doing here is basically what you would call a veiled threat. He's making a direct veiled threat to Mitch McConnell and Speaker Ryan, Paul Ryan, for their capitulation, basically, to the Trump campaign's insistence on applying the law equally in this country. Because John Brennan believes in his little fantasy world that the law doesn't apply to him equally or his cohorts or his other cabal members. What he believes is that he's so far above the law that he can stand there and call himself a nonpartisan American who then goes and becomes an affiliate for a totally biased media organization, thereby giving him a platform to spew partisan views and then claim in his CIA official Twitter page here that he is a nonpartisan American, which is the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life. And thank God he's the former CIA director, but he is obviously wielding immense power behind the scenes, and this guy has to be addressed immediately. He is literally a cancer on this country, and we need to fight his evil through the proper channels of litigation and bringing him to indictment for the crimes that have been alleged against him as committing. We need to bring up and have an investigation and decide whether or not indictments should be filed. So this is important. And John Brennan is the one who, it's the speculation is now that the allegation is that he has been that Peter Strzok, the counterintelligence worker over at the FBI, was the go-between between Brennan and Comey. And that's how the CIA is totally connected and in each other's pockets. And that's why Comey, who we all know, is also over there launching his little tweets of threats that he likes to put up here. They're not direct threats or like actual threats. They're veiled. But he'll say stuff like there was the one tweet, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's the one with Andrew McCabe, and he's talking about those who are loyal, and he was a proud man to stand tall. We all know McCabe's flipped, okay? McCabe's flipped. He is flipped over, and he is told everything. He's saying like a bird, in my humble opinion. That's why we don't hear anything about him anymore. He's the one who is laying it out because he realizes what he did was very wrong. So hopefully that is the actual case with him. But how does that all connect back here? Well, those who are loudest, we need to watch out what's going on. We need to look out for the safety of the Jim Jordan and Meadows and those who put together that letter. I don't think that Q is referring to Ron DeSantis when he's saying those who are the loudest. I think he's referring to those who Ron DeSantis is referring to. So that's my take on it. And the loudest people would be people like John Brennan. And that's going to be it for this episode. Now we're going to come back and cover this last Q post at the end because it's about God and it's amazing. It really touched my heart to see that Q left us with these amazing Bible verses that really touched my heart when I read them, and I want to share them with you. So we'll get to that at the end of the episode, but really quick, I just want to say thank you all for watching. If you're looking for a way to contribute to the episode, The best way to do it is to come here. If you have not hit the subscribe button, please hit the red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way you'll be notified as soon as these videos get posted. The second best way to help out this channel is to scroll down at the end of this video, leave your thoughts, theories, and insights in the comment board. Like I say, we try to have our own QAnon research board at the end of each one of these videos where we discuss exactly what happened in these Q posts, what analysis are right, what analysis are wrong, what need tweaking, what could be expanded on further, all of those things. So everybody who goes down there and contributes, thank you so much. You guys are really what make this channel possible. And they are the ones who are actually some great people down there, and they have great dialogues with each other. And I try to join in as I can. And it's just incredible. I get so much information from down there. You guys are doing a great job. But even if you can't comment, just scroll down and read through the comments, because I guarantee you're going to learn something you didn't know before you watch this video. Another great way to help out is to come over here and find me on my Twitter page. You can find me at Justin_formed, and I really want to continue to draw light to this, okay, guys? So help me shine the light. Go to vets4childrescue.org/donate. You can find them on the hashtag V4CR or hashtag Vets4Child and they're at V4CR Media Team. Now, these people are a bunch of veterans who are going out and they're basically protecting children by removing them from situations of human sex trafficking and child sexual abuse. They're doing God's work out there, ladies and gentlemen, and we need to go support them. So again, go to vets4childrescue.org and do your part, contribute to that organization, and help fight the plague of child sex abuse and child trafficking that's going on across our country and across the world. And you can do it one donation at a time to help these veterans have the funding that they need to go help these kids who are in some of the most dire situations you could ever imagine, and they need and deserve all your help. And I just recently retweeted this, so this would be toward the top of my Twitter feed. I'd like to retweet it every few days because I'm not going to stop shining light on this injustice for children who cannot fight for themselves. That's the biggest part. These kids are innocent and they need your help so that they may survive and have a chance at a real life. So definitely go over there and contribute at vets4childrescue.org. Now, if you're looking for a way to contribute to my channel, which I really appreciate, that would be great. Come over here to patreon.com. That's patreon.com. You can search Just Informed Talk, or it's patreon.com/Just Informed Talk. Come here to this landing page, click this button to become a patron. I appreciate all your contributions in advance. I appreciate you guys coming here and checking it out. But come check out my rewards and my goals. It's not a one-way street. You definitely get something in exchange for making a donation. And the donations help keep this channel running. So thank you so much to each and every one of you who donate. And thank you to everybody who's going to come here. I really appreciate that thoroughly. And it helps keep this channel going, because demonetization is real. And, it happens basically. It happens to everybody who's a content creator. So this is a great way to help me continue to afford to keep the channel going and keep everything running. So I appreciate it and thank you so much in advance if you come here and do that and donate. But before we sign off, we're going to talk about what the most important thing is, and that is God. And Q's provided us with this amazing verse that I really want to share with you guys. It's like, wow, thank you, Q. I really appreciate it. So the first post from Q, it's Ephesians chapter 6, verses 10 through 18. And these words, I hope they touch your heart. And I hope you understand that what these words are going to tell us is that first, how to prepare ourselves to be soldiers of God and what God expects of us as soldiers of God. And then the next one tells us about what love is and how important love is. And I want to thank Q personally. It touches my heart. I don't even think Q knows. It touches my heart so deeply to know that you're bringing scripture back to these posts, bringing back to these people, all these people who are lost. We need to share the love of God with them. It's going to be our most powerful tool. It is what is going to make us successful in this battle against evil. And I know that Q knows that. I know that they're very aware of that. So thank Q, thank Trump, thank everyone who's involved over there. This is really great. So it's a pleasure and an honor to be able to give you this verse from Q. But let's read it. This is going to tell you, though, how to remain strong and to become a soldier of the Lord. And it says, finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power, put on the full armor of God, so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on a full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And you have done everything to stand. Stand firm with them, or stand firm then, with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this in mind, be alert and always keep on praying for all the saints. These words are incredible. These are words to live by, ladies and gentlemen. The word of God is our armor. God is our armor. The shield is our faith. The evil cannot touch us if we continue to be strong in our faith, and to be strong in our duty, and to be strong in our honor, and to love God. But please remember, this is an incredibly powerful piece, and I'm blessed to be able to bring it to you. And now let's talk about what the love is, because that's even more important. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 through 13. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always preserves. Love never fails. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you here right now tonight, all of these words are true. These are the words of God. These are what we should be aspiring to every day in our continual battle against evil. We don't have many choices in this world. I can't choose to be a millionaire tomorrow. I can't choose to fly. I can't choose to do whatever I want whenever I want. Because all of those things are constrained by our human nature and our inability to transcend the structures we live in. But the one thing that will help us transcend anything, any adversity, any struggle in life that we go through, anything that makes us want more or desire more, we can transcend that with God. And the more that we desire should be God, getting closer to God, being more connected to Him, understanding that love is patient and love is kind, and that we should not envy or boast or be proud. We should stay humble. We should stay loving, trusting, all of these things. And remember that love never fails. And when we look back up here at this verse, this is the tool that's going to get you there. Remember, your life is worth so much to God, and all you have to do is open your heart. And like I always say, if you want to get closer to God, if you want to get that true relationship, just remember, open your heart to God and say a prayer. That's how it all starts. There is no other way. You just open your heart and talk to God. Let Him know what's going on. Let Him know what you need help with and how you're going to succeed, or how you want to succeed. And then humble yourself before Him and abide in His laws and His rules and be one with God. And then let that light into your soul and then shine that light out to the world so that you can light fires in other people's hearts. Because when you light the fire in someone else's hearts, that's 100 times, 1,000,000 times more important even than lighting the fire in your own heart. Because we should all want to have that fire in our heart and then to give it to others. So it's important for us to not just take the word and hold it for ourselves. The importance is spreading the word, is letting everyone know that God loves them, letting them know the words of the gospel, letting them know that Jesus died on the cross for their sins and that their soul has already been fought for, and that if they just resign themselves to the Lord and abide in Him, that they have a place in heaven. So just remember that, all of you out there, and thank you, Q, for making that great Bible verse. But I'm going to cut it off there because this video is getting kind of long. But thank you so much for everybody who has come here and watched. Again, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, now's a great time. Come here, click the big red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. Make sure you leave your comments too. That would be great. But that's going to be it for me. I want to say thank you for watching again. This has been Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed, and God bless you all, Patriots.